Wife of 2 years cheated on me for 8 months, 7 months prior to marriage. It is a long read, and if you have the time I would appreciate insight from people who have dealt with infidelity, survived or not. Thank you. My wife recently divulged to me that she had cheated on me after we got married and had been regularly seeing this same person 7 months prior to our marriage month and once more after we were married. At the time she lived in another state where we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do long distance and even talked about just being friends. Things were uncertain. We had both started to explore with other people at the beginning of her moving away from where I lived and for the next several months, but could never stop talking to each other or moving on from our emotional bond. This became more and more apparent and our bond became much more serious. Now we were doing long distance. A couple lengthy visits to my home and me to where she lived, and we really fell in love. I was only interested in her and stopped fooling around and even discussed this and was reaffirmed of the exclusivity from her. Months go by of us continuing to do long distance until I finally proposed we get married. She was ecstatic, happy, and thinking about our future as we set our date. I flew to her and we got married. The plan was she would live there 1 more month to finish her job and come back to where I was to live with me. The cheating timeline starts a month before I propose and continued up until the final moments of her living in the other city, and at that point we were already married. This ended up being an 8-month-long affair, which is an insane amount of time to keep something like this hidden, seeing someone else nearly every week and talking to me every day. Our conversations around this topic have been rough. She trickled the truth to me, lied about many things which I saw right through, and it took weeks to fully unveil/understand the scope of the affair and get a better understanding of her thought process throughout it. I was the torturer for getting the truth out of her, and I would say for the most part one remained calm and collect as much possible, otherwise the convos would devolve. Even through her attempts of flipping the script and avoiding accountability. She did confess this to me, which I respect, but through our convos after the confession her lack of guilt during her affair was heavily apparent. Her mom did pass 2 months into the affair and tried using that as a shield, but then in later convos she admitted it started before then. She proclaims it was only physical for her, but this was a man she also cried to about her loss, to which makes for an unavoidable emotional bond. I asked her, why not just drop him after we got married? Why see him 1 more time? Her answer was that it was not someone she could do that to. I guess getting in one last goodbye fuck session was the best way. She also tried hiding his Instagram handle from me, which made me so damn angry. In fear I would message him. I wouldn't, but I needed to see who she was willing to compromise our marriage for. Imagine kissing someone at the altar who the week prior had slept with someone else and did all the other lovely sexual acts. Some icing on the cake, he reached out only 3 months ago to her, which was due to his mom passing, and asked her how she coped with it. She of course couldn't leave him hanging and texted him a lot that day, supporting him emotionally and providing comfort, but supposedly kept it very on topic, and that was it. Messages have been deleted. The guilt of not texting him was stronger than further betraying me. She now understands her mistakes and has taken accountability, but damn did I have to practically hold her hand to get her there and be more patient with her than she deserves. She feels horrible and does not want to lose me, but right now I see no future. I'm only taking this day by day, but find it hard to even talk to her at times. It has been 3 weeks since D-Day and I had her move out and get her own place, but she desperately wants us to stay together. I'm trying not to make rash decisions and need to take my time, but some wounds are too deep to heal. We are going to do no contact for IDK maybe a week or 2, but I'm torn between a path of forgiveness and healing with her or just divorcing and moving on to greener grass. Edit. / I am 29, M, wife 23, F. / she did sign a prenup. / her name is not on my mortgage lease. / financially I am protected, emotionally I am mincemeat. / we have a dog that she would end up taking. I work too much, sadly. / we have been married for 1 year and 7 months, dating for basically 3. Affair of 8 months being half as long as our marriage. She claims she was never in love with AP nor cried when they said goodbye. We are both lustful people, and I think this was mostly for fulfillment of sexual desires with some solid emotional entanglements that danced close to love but never was achieved, likely due to me being in the picture. She supposedly went on one date with AP and she did not enjoy it. I think the cheating felt too real at that point. Not too sure. But this is why I can relate to her motive for sex but not to her lying and actually going through with it. My morals do not bring me that far, I know the boundaries. Yes, I would not have married her had I known this, and we even had a talk before marriage of mainly me being anxious and unsure if we were ready. Very much the perfect time to come clean to me. I try not to get too detective on her for my own sake, but she has lied enough that I feel like I have a better understanding when the truth is coming out, but I know there are some lingering truths yet to be known. This is gonna slap y'all, but he offered to marry her during their affair. She said it was in a friendly way, like just for a green card. Yes, she is from Argentina, but after hearing more about the affair, this man definitely had strong feelings for her that do seem to go beyond her feelings for him. Of course I said why not just marry him, and she replied that she loved me and only used him to fulfill her needs. AP was fully aware of her relationship with me, which actually makes it worse. Makes them have their own little understanding beyond my knowledge. She only recently blocked him after D-Day but stopped following him on IG when she moved in with me, yet he still followed her, so the door remained open. 3 months ago is when she deleted their conversation thread, which I will be clarifying. AP was aware of her being my fiancé, and definitely wanted to rip her away from me, kinda wish he did. She did revisit the town where she had the affair only to visit friends and the family she stayed with. She admitted he reached out to her, having seen her story on IG, to hang out, and she said declined. I feel she wouldn't be honest about this if she went through with it and met up, but I obviously have my doubts. It just doesn't make sense to mention it if you would lie about the important part. But when she did mention it, the vibe was for her to avoid the temptation that if they actually did meet up she may not be able to hold back, at least that is what it felt like. Regardless of the outcome for us, I told her she needs to write me a detailed letter about her thoughts, emotions, and important hallmarks of the affair, like goodbyes, justifications, reactions to him asking to marry her, things of that nature. I was also considering sharing some questions I have with her as reference points, that way they can be answered in this letter. Ultimately, our relationship is dead, and if we do continue together it would have to be born anew. She is not handling this well and does not want to dwell on the past, and the feelings of her remorse, while have been strong in weak moments, seem to fade away as the next day comes. It does feel like I see a different person than who I thought I married. I've read about people's experiences a lot. Some heal and have a better relationship, some end it and move on, some are tortured for extended periods of time before finally calling it quits, worst case scenario. Of course it differs for everyone and their unique relationships, but this is my story and I want to hear other people's take on it. I appreciate the responses.